Hello, I'm Mirella.
Hello, I'm Zoe. Welcome to the Critical Obsession podcast.
Our latest obsession has been a Thai BL called Dangerous Romance. The episodes are free to watch on YouTube. There will be spoilers, so you should definitely go and watch the series before listening to us fangirl about it.
A little disclaimer, this will contain our personal opinions, random thoughts, and theories. There will be cursing, and also be aware that topics may be adult in nature, and alcohol may be involved.
Our laughter will be painful to listen to, but bear with us. Last time we reacted to the latest episode of Dangerous Romance, but now we want to talk about it some more.
If you're still with us after all of this, join us on our downward spiral into our obsessions. So we basically open up with them sitting at the dinner table, and it's Grandma who asks about the football game. And I have so much to say about this scene. Because obviously, of course, this is kind of where we see the other side of the kiss. We have Grandma who asks about the football, and when asked about the game, which is meant to be his new dream / purpose, whatever. He instead is literally only thinking about Salom. So
He's very football team guy, Salam.
Yeah, he's like a record that's skipping. And it's but I just had this idea of Salom being tied into his dream for his future, which completely makes sense when you think about it, But I saw a post, and this is going to go to the end of the episode, but I'm going to bring it back to the beginning. But I saw a post on Tumblr, and I don't know if you linked it or I linked it or whatever, but it's by Here They Be Dork. And they mentioned about how tight Kang holds Salom when he agrees to date him, and when he calls him my good boy, and I'm just I just want to giggle whenever I think of that. And they were saying about how they think the more he gets from Salom, the more the lack of his father's interest in him is going to hurt him, and how potentially it's going to break him. And they go on to say some other stuff, and so I don't disagree with their posts specifically, but I also don't agree. So I believe that Kang, when he said Salom has healed his heart, I believe he meant that, or he's healing his heart, in the bathroom scene. I believe he meant that. As this bit here is all over the place, but I'm bringing it back. But I do agree that the loss of that, if that happens in the future, and now I'm going to bring your anxiety into it as well, of what he's getting from Salom, this safe place for his heart, if that gets damaged, it will shatter him. This is where, once again, I feel the Dangerous Romance ties in really, really well. I think to bring it all back to his future, I kind of made myself sad, and I hope they don't break each other, but I feel they probably might. I mean, we've seen what's coming, and I feel there might be some mutual breaking happening, because they definitely have the power to do that to one another. Especially the further and further they go into this, the more potential they have for really hurting each other. But hopefully, if they go there, if they are really gonna break them, I feel we're also gonna see that it'll be them that puts them back together again, and hopefully they'll.
Maybe that's why our anxiety keeps growing, because we feel how much they rely on each other, and how much their self-worth and happiness depends on the presence and action and expectations of the other one. If they don't have each other, if the image that they created of the other one in their mind gets altered, it's going to
it'll be devastating. Yeah. I mean, look, I honestly feel we're going to get that. I do feel we're going to. It would be very strange for it not to get to there. I mean, look, it would be great. It's one of those things. It doesn't need to be dramatic in a drama. I kind of hate it when they create drama when honestly they don't need to do that. One of the reasons why, just to mention another drama, but one of the reasons why I quite liked Bad Buddy was because there was never drama between them. They were solid right until the end. They had each other's back. It was the drama was the outside world, so they had that bubble thing that's quite similar to Kang and Salom in that way, and they just didn't let other people get in their bubble. They kept them out right to the end. And so you can definitely do it. But we've seen that they're going to try and introduce it. However, it could be very brief. Like, we could get this. I'm like veering off from the actual episode, going into something else. But anyway, we could.
You wanted to think this for the end, and
I'm
now
like
we're just
6 minutes in, and I'm already leading us down the rabbit hole for a 7-hour podcast. But yeah, so we could just get like this moment where Salom starts escorting again, or whatever, or is attempting to head in that direction. Kang finds out, freaks out, because like we know he's going to. His like literally head will spin around 3 times, and it'll be a very exorcist moment for him. But he is about to like lose his mind for sure. But it might just be that like this confrontation that they have that we see in the trailer is the moment that kind of solidifies them and actually solves a lot of.
thought. I had the same thought, and it depends on how they do it. It depends on how
Yeah,
they on how the scene ends.
yeah, that's right.
It
Because
could make the emotions even stronger.
yeah, if it ends with because I know we've kind of talked about it before, and we did sort of discuss the idea that, you know, if they actually like physically say were to hook up at this point. I mean, hook up's the wrong word because they're already dating, but you know what I mean. Like if they say they were to have like sex for the first time in this instance, it would probably be really toxic or whatever, and we were sort of a bit like, we don't really like that. But then I was kind of thinking about it, and I was like, we don't know what happens after we've seen in that what we've seen in the trailer. Like this could actually end up being a really positive scene. We don't know. We're only seeing what they're showing us.
Yeah,
And also the other thing is and because of course in my mind's throwing all these things that could totally break them, and obviously that's the first one, because there's going to be so much kind of backlash in that moment. It just depends, and which I'll touch on a little bit later. It just depends on whether or not they talk about it and communicate and deal with it in that moment, or whether it festers, and how, and if they understand why the other person is feeling the way they're feeling.
I had this thought, like I was thinking about Salam's character and how rigid he is. He's a very rigid character. Like I have seen people in real life and like who are kind of like this. And they have these principles that they lead their life by, and they think they're doing everything right. And most of the time it does look like they're doing everything right. But sometimes by doing the right thing, they are hurting the people that love them, and they cannot see it. They cannot accept this. Like it's something so strange to them. How can a right thing hurt someone? And I feel like Salom, when he does this escorting thing, he will not think about Kang's perspective here. He needs to realize that by doing the right thing, he actually does the wrong thing, and he does the wrong thing to the person that he loves.
Yeah.
And in order for him to understand that, Kang needs to not do this thing that we see so in the trailer, because we know how Salom is going to respond to that. He's going to fight back. He's going to put this mask on. He's going to just shut all the doors, like, and I don't know if I can break through at like with that method. As he's going to have, I imagine it ending well, the scene ending with something good if Kang actually opens up and becomes vulnerable, maybe actually tries to express why this is hurting him so much, to if he doesn't calm down, but maybe if it turns into ugly crying or something, and Salam sees how much what it actually means.
I was thinking that too, because I feel like we see this bit in the scene where it looks like he is reverting to, pre Salom Kang, where like he just this is how he reacted to things that, pressure or whatever, and stuff that he didn't, he was uncomfortable, he was upset, he was whatever, and so anger and violence, basically. And so it makes sense that that is his reaction, because it's like he in that moment is reverting back to his previous self, because as far as he's concerned, Salom has done the same thing by shutting him out. Essentially, he's no longer the Salom that he thought he was, or whatever. And so I did think if he cries, or if he like explains himself as to why why this is so damaging to him. Because so
Yeah.
the thing is and you're spot on, Salom is going to be like, first off, his first thing's probably going to be he doesn't want to go, he's so transactional in the way he does things that he's not going to want, but there's not a transaction between them, so he's not going to want to introduce that. He's not going to want to be dependent financially on Kang. And the stupidest, and I get that it's an integrity thing, it's a whatever, I've been in a situation like that, I can understand where he's coming from, it's that but being prideful is also a sin, right? So it's like he will be doing it
I think
probably.
I think he might be doing also because of guilt. Maybe he doesn't want to involve Kang because he feels guilty somehow.
Oh
Like
yeah, I
he
think so
can't.
too. Especially if
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
dangerous, if it's like whatever, like he doesn't want to be a burden. That will be a thing, right? But ultimately, I think you're right. I think he's going to go into this thinking purely and simply about himself and potentially Safai, and like what he needs to do to fix the problem, because that is what he's been doing from what we can tell from the little information that we know. That has been his role for a really long time, probably way longer than it should have been, because considering the fact that he's the younger brother. But he fixes the problems, and he tries to do it in the way that's most, has most integrity, but also is like like he's thinking tunnel vision about them, because he's so used to being on his own in this situation. He's so used to not having anybody supporting him or anybody helping him. He has to fix the problems that his brother has caused, or like whatever. So I can see him not even thinking about Kang, because if you've always been on your own, then when bad shit happens, and the other thing is as well, I mean, if we've talked about this idea of his vulnerability, and like Kang loves seeing his vulnerability, like we know, like it's like this thing, he just loves it, right? But and I mentioned this as well before, that except for Salom opening the door in this episode for him, he
Yeah.
really hasn't shown any vulnerability to
Never
Kang
willingly.
willingly,
Yes.
right? And so
Yeah.
this idea of like something bad happens, and as you said, guilt, depending on what happens with his brother and the family and all the rest of it. This is the other thing that I said, I was saying this escort thing could be an issue between them, but the other thing that could fracture them or bring them closer together, depending on the events that lead up to it, could be whatever his brother does or doesn't do, or whatever, or gets arrested for, because essentially that's Kang's family, so. But and he may have, as you said, guilt over whatever's happened, especially if Safai does actually do something wrong, like
Yeah.
if
He'll
he
feel
fucks up.
responsible as well.
Yeah, he's gonna probably want to keep Kang as far out of it as he possibly can, because he doesn't want him to see that ugly part of his life, and he doesn't want him to, at this point, I think like Salom is going to be so used to the way that Kang sees him, and so used to the way that like
Puts him on a pedestal, and now.
yeah, and he's not gonna want to. He's gonna be afraid that if he sees like really how ugly and I'm not saying that his life is ugly, but like this is internalized thought. I'm surmising he
Mhm,
has
mhm,
that like I can see him thinking, like if he really sees how ugly I am, how can he ever love me, kind of thing.
mhm.
So I feel like we might actually see that Salom has actually probably way more issues than Kang has. Like Kang seems to have all these issues like up the wazoo, but I wouldn't be surprised as this goes along if we start to see that Salom actually has way more issues. And we do kind of get a glimpse of that in the shower scene where he's like, I have nobody. Like he's
Yeah.
like, he breaks down, in front of Kang, and he's just like, I have nobody, because that would be a huge thing as well. Like he's obviously got abandonment issues. I mean, not saying his parents left willingly, but that doesn't, you don't have to, they don't have to have left willingly for you to not feel
Mhm.
abandoned.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, we totally went off on a weird a weird thing, which wasn't really where I was going to go, but but yeah, I mean, I see it definitely being an issue, because, and I touch on this again, but later on I've got some notes about it, but like it's just, there's so much that Kang has put on himself at this point in regards to like what he, like how he derives his value for Salom, like what he thinks he can do for Salom, like how he thinks he can be worthy of him, because at this point he is like, as you said, he's put him up on a pedestal. He is in awe of him, I feel like, half the time, and he doesn't even realize it some of the time. And so like when this happens, him Salom not asking for help, it's like he's rejecting Kang's money, but that's like a huge part of who he is as well. Like, I mean, it's not like he can not be rich. Like, I mean, yeah, sure, okay, he could like disown the family and run away and join the circus or whatever, but like he's like, it's a huge part of his personality and his like identity is that he comes from money, just like it's a huge part of Salom's identity that he's poor. And the thing is like him not going to Kang for assistance on this level, he's essentially rejecting a huge part of Kang. And like the really interesting thing about this story so far anyway is that Kang hasn't done the same with Salom. Like the fact that Salom is poor hasn't even really like, when he was bullying him and stuff, like he brought it up a couple of times, but it was more like he was like, it was a thing to taunt him with. He doesn't actually have any thoughts or feelings. He doesn't appear to. Do you know what I mean? Like it doesn't have any. He doesn't look at Salom and go, "Oh, he's poor." Do you know what I mean? Like that's
I think
not.
he tried to use that against Salom because maybe
he thought
I
he
think
might be
maybe
ashamed of it.
a bit of it because he felt like people that are poor only value the money in him, and so when Salom did not do that, did not express the same worldview, and did not act the way Kang expected him to, he tried to make him do it. He tried to push this narrative on him, but it didn't work.
I think the other thing it could be as well is that if that avenue didn't work, then he's used it in an attempt to make him feel ashamed, because that's the other side of the coin generally. If they're not, if people aren't after something, then they're ashamed. Whereas he's kind of in the middle, isn't he? He's in his own little, like, he's not necessarily ashamed of who he is or anything like that. But what we've seen since like all of that has stopped, we've never seen Kang like, even really consider the fact that he doesn't have money, except for when he's concerned about him and his safety in regards to like the debt collectors and him not having the money to pay them and things like that. And he is not looking at that from the perspective of poor him, he's poor, we're not suitable, we can't possibly work together, like how could I possibly be with someone who's poor or anything like that. He's purely and simply looking at it from the perspective of, I don't ever want to see him in that position again where he is so broken and like both like emotionally but also physically. Like he doesn't want anyone to touch him basically. And whether that's in violence or like in any other way, because this boy is possessive as fuck. But yeah, so he's concern for like the discrepancy in their situations and how can he help him is based on like fear essentially and love, whereas Salom rejecting it, and you know what, it could actually, okay, now I'm just like blowing my own mind. It could actually end up being from Salom's point of view. This could be a really interesting conversation if this is where it goes and they actually talk to one another. If this whole reason why he decides to go down the path he does and in the way he does by keeping Kang out of it and everything could be because he's working from the same place of love and like protection kind of, but just in a different way, like from the other perspective, that we were talking about, where he's trying to keep him out of it or whatever. Anyway, there's so much that's coming that I'm super excited about but also like have major anxiety. And I get it, you do too. Yeah, major anxiety. But anyway, okay, so let me go down the other
back to the table.
So basically that was sort of like a side point. I was like I just had this in my mind that it was all tied into the way he is thinking about his future and then how that all ties into the dangerous romance and what could happen in the future and blah blah blah. So but there is actually two other points about this first scene that I love. So once again, we're at a fork in the road and we're going to go left first, okay? So The first thing I want to talk about is the kiss.
Yeah.
I love how we get to see the kiss in this scene from Kang's point of view in the flashback. And we get these micro expressions from him, which are just so great.
Yes.
And it's
Yes,
just
this little frown, which like lets us know that he's overcome by emotion and passion, and it's like the puzzle pieces fall into place for him, and his own feelings are finally clear to him, and
mm,
yeah, it's just amazing,
I
amazing,
know.
amazing.
And once again, it's just flooring me how great these actors are at these characters and how brilliant
Yes,
the acting in this scene is. But not even just this scene, like the entire show so far has just been like chef's kiss, like so good. And also watching it a second time made me come to the realization that I personally feel like this scene, I really do feel like this scene in particular is from Kang's point of view. And it makes sense because obviously he's the one who's remembering it. So
yeah.
I really like that it actually made this scene hurt me a lot more because I remember being amused the first time I watched this scene because the friends burst in and it's like whatever, and even though there was drama sort of happening, I remember kind of being amused by the fact that the friends were like whatever, and especially because guys just like, what the fuck's going on, he's so suspicious. I'm a little bit in love with him, I think. But like the way Salom like wipes off his mouth as he's walking away, like he's wiping away the kiss, it just
Mhm.
leveled me the second time I watched it because I realized it's from Kang's perspective. So I was like, when I'm thinking about like how he must have felt when he saw that, and I'm just like, then I was feeling it and I was all in my feels then. I was like, oh my god, my poor baby. Even in the bit as well where he's just like, Salom sort of says to him, like, why do you, I mean, I'm paraphrasing again because it's in Thai and I'm
Mhm.
not going to directly quote, but anyway, I'm paraphrasing. He's like, why did you kiss me? And Kang's like, what do you mean? Like, why can't you understand? He's like, you're the smartest person I know. Why don't you get what I'm trying to say? It's like, why don't you understand my feelings? Like, you can feel that frustration.
Did you notice he did not look him in the eyes, and he avoided looking at him all the time?
Yeah.
At
He was,
the dinner table, and then even with the door, he didn't want to see him. He was holding the door. I was like, talk through the door if you want to talk to me, because I feel like he knew that if he looked into Kang's eyes, if he saw that need, that pleading for attention, he would not be able to deny whatever Kang needs for him. Like
oh yeah,
it
because
became
he
a
loves
thing.
him already.
It's a function. It's his function to give Kang whatever Kang needs, like this emotional support, everything that
Mm,
Kang expects from him.
yeah.
Like,
And
he
I
wouldn't
just,
be able to stop himself.
yeah. But I just like, I'm like, this whole like, why don't you get me? And like the facial expressions that Perth uses here were just like spot on
Yeah.
because he's just like, yeah, I was just watching it and I like had so many non-verbal like reactions. I'm like, yeah, like I was just, yeah. And I also thought like this moment is really interesting because in the other episode, so at the end of episode 6, I feel like that scene was very much from Salom's point of view. Like once the kiss starts, anyway. And I feel
Hmm.
like it's very much from Salom's point of view. And it was so interesting because the kiss seems so much longer.
Maybe because it's like torture. For some, it was like torture, and when it wasn't a pleasant experience. He was
See, it's
like
funny because I have completely different thought process to you, but continue.
he didn't know what to think. He was questioning everything. And when something doesn't feel right, when you're not, the experience is not that, let's say, pleasant for you. If it's painful, it feels like it lasts longer. But for Kang, it was like falling. It was like finally everything made sense.
Yeah,
What
well,
do
it's
you
funny. It's funny because I was like, I was super curious and I felt like saying,
think?
okay, hey, listeners, can someone like go watch it and let me know? Send us a message. But then I
Mhm.
have zero chill. And so I actually did something. You'll be so proud of me. I went back and I watched it and I was just like, wow, okay. Basically, the episode, because as I said, before I went and watched it, I felt like the scene at the end of the episode from episode 6 where Kane grabs him and kisses him to when that scene ends, because don't forget when that scene ends, they're still kissing, was so much longer. Like the entire bit is actually, I went back and the entire bit is actually way shorter, but the in comparison, so the bit from where like Salom kisses back, when it's Kang's memory, it's like seconds. He brings it to a close, like it was abrupt, you know what I mean? So it would seem way shorter to him because when we see it, it's funny though, because you were saying like Salom being uncomfortable, but when we see it from Salom's point of view, it was, to me, it was a longer tentative kiss. Like we see it, and there's like, it's a completely different experience. And so I'm thinking about it, you know, like before I went back and watched, I'm thinking these like seem like two different kisses to me, like for real. And I mean, obviously they probably were. They probably shot them differently and whatever, but that's a whole other that's a whole other, you know, in the world of what we're watching, it seemed like two different kisses, which makes sense because it's from two different people's points of view. And I love that so much. I love that this show is giving us so much in the vein of what we're getting, where they like switch a point of view, or rather switching a mindset or like experience. It's like really interesting. So anyway, I went back, and so the entire kiss in episode 7 is about 20 something seconds, right? It's not, I didn't like fully like do the maths of it. I basically was just going like, you know, 1, 2, like I was counting in my head, right? So, and then it's like over a minute in episode 6. So you can say, okay, because they did insert a bunch of flashbacks, which obviously stretched the kiss out, and everything. But I'm guessing like we're meant to think that this is happening while they're kissing. Like Salom is having these thoughts, like while Kang is kissing him, because he doesn't have any flashbacks once he starts to kiss him back. So we see in the flashbacks like these things that have happened, you know, where he thinks, like when he first thinks obviously that that Kang has feelings for him, when, you know, like these different moments, like, you know, when he tells him, and so on and so forth. And so he slowly gets to that point where he's like, he makes his way through that. I just said, I feel like that's the painful part for Salom. But once he decides to kiss back, he's emotional, because we said that, you know, like he screws his face up, all that sort of stuff. But he's still kissing back, and that bit from when it's from his point of view is almost like 10 seconds longer than the entire kiss we see from Kang's point of view. And it's like, we see at the beginning of episode 7, like Kang's memory for Salom, like the part where like Salom actually kisses him back, is like over in seconds. And whereas for Salom, it lasted a really long time. And so it's such an interesting like dynamic shift of point of view and feeling, and it's such a great way to represent the two polar reactions of polar opposite reactions of their feelings associated with that kiss in that moment. And when we have that flashback, it's obviously from Salom's point of view. We remember the moments and feelings he's having, and then ultimately his decision to sort of accept Kang and give it a go. And then, because that's what we see at the end of episode 6, at least that's how it seems in his mind. But then from Kang's point of view, it's over so quickly, it's so abrupt. He barely got to kiss him before he was like pushing him away. And it's so interesting to see that their perspectives are so completely different in that moment. Because if this is meant to be the exact same kiss, but we're getting it from their points of view, like for Kang, it was just like he barely got to touch, like as you said, like the pleasure, and his acceptance or whatever, and it was just like ripped out of him. It ripped out from underneath him, like someone ripping out a rug, you know. And it's like, I wonder if we had seen the kiss in full completion, whether from Salom's point of view, he pushed him away in quite the same way. Do you know what I mean? Like, did he really wipe his mouth as he walked away? Did he shove Kang away from him in that way? Or did he not shove Kang away until like he heard the door? Like, it's different because the kiss is so different. Their perspectives of the kiss is so different that like I'm so curious, like if we had seen the full kiss from Salom's point of view, how it actually ended. Do you know, does that make any sense? Anyway.
Yeah, I guess we'll never know that, but it's an interesting point.
Yeah, no, we won't. That's
It's
the
for
thing.
sure. It depends. Yeah, the fact that we see it through Kang's point of view changes how things are perceived for sure.
Yeah.
And from Salom's point of view.
Because it's so different than what we saw from Salam's point of view, it's like, I'm just like, Kang, are you being super dramatic here? Like, is this retelling super dramatic? And it also makes that question, you know, in the bathroom where he says, you know, like, what did you think about our kiss? Like, so much more interesting. And especially since we never actually got a fucking answer to that question. Because, yeah, clearly they both thought completely different things, but they both had the same, ultimately they had the same end game feeling about it. He's so possessive, right? So like him saying he doesn't like to see him with Guy or anybody else, like he says that twice in this episode, and he's such a little freak. Like, honestly, I love it. I mean it could get toxic really fast, but I feel like it's not a bad thing if you don't have anyone in your corner, as long as it's equal. Like, as long as these feelings are equal, and I feel like for them it's
As long
equal.
as Salome is into it.
Yeah, like I feel like it's equal. Like I feel like they're just as like fucked up and desperate for each other, so it's okay. But once again, like this is also where the whole dangerous romance thing comes into it, because in my mind, like in a couple of places in this episode, I keep getting pulled back to it. It's so funny. We talked about it, and we kind of had that whole like, why did they do this moment? And lots of people talking about it on the timeline and on Twitter and on Tumblr and stuff about like why they use that name, why they changed it to Dangerous Romance instead of using the original name. And it's just, because the original one was so much more beautiful and fitting and everything. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the more we're getting into this, like the closer we're getting into what we know is going to be, eventual main drama of the show, I'm feeling like Dangerous Romance was actually very fitting, because this romance of theirs can very, potentially be very dangerous for both their hearts and their futures as well. Like, we don't know how this is going to affect them. And I feel like there might be some sort of like future, like threat to the future as well, because, they've brought up the whole point about Salom like basically kind of sacrificing his future so that Kang can succeed. Like,
Yeah.
realistically, I mean, it's such an interesting concept, because from what we have seen in other dramas and, things you hear about the privilege and that in Thailand, technically Kang could buy his way into university, whereas Salom actually needs to work his ass off to benefit from, a scholarship or like whatever. So it's interesting that they've already sort of touched on that, and he's putting.
It's dangerous because they're so desperate for each other, and it's very, yeah, they could die for each other. I mean, they're so
Yes.
into each other that it is dangerous. Like if something happened to one of them,
Mm.
it's not one of those romance stories from that we usually see these days where people are quite chill, like, oh, we could just break up, we could just blah blah blah. They're 100% into this. Like it's a
Yeah.
like, this is it's a trope. It's the thing that, like, the big love stories
Yeah.
that end
It's the
tragic, like,
Romeo and Juliet trope.
yes, exactly.
Mm.
Like that is why it feels so. It is dangerous.
Yeah.
Because
And I mean, let's be honest, in our hearts of hearts, even those of us who are like, oh, that shit's toxic or whatever, like in the deepest part of ourselves, we all would love a romance that is this insane. Because to be like,
intense. Yeah.
yeah, to be this intense with somebody and for it to be mutual. I don't mean like, we don't want someone who's like this intense crazy if we're not into it, and we don't want to be this intense crazy about someone who's not into us, because like that's never going to be fun. That's never going to work out. It's never going to be, and I'm not saying this would either, but like this whole idea of being someone else's whole world is like really really romantic, especially when you look at your day-to-day life. I mean, like, we get up, we go to work, we go to sleep, we whatever, like, it's like sometimes you think, what's the point? Like, you know what I mean? Like, some people create great, totally going off topic here, everybody, sorry, but sometimes people create, cures for medications, or great discoveries for man, or like whatever, or maybe just having children is their legacy or whatever. But like, for a lot of us, we just plebs that get up and we're just cogs in the machine. So like, if you at least knew that, like, when you go, your existence mattered to one person, like, it's gonna make, like, you are actually gonna cut a shape of you out of them. Like, there is, like, there's never gonna be someone else. Like, it's just like
That
that
it's not
whole
going to
idea.
fade.
Sorry.
That you're not going to fade away. You're not going. Yeah.
Yeah.
That your relationship, your feelings are not going to fade away. It's just like it's like burning. It's like if you're
Yeah, you
if
have
you're
a
done,
purpose.
you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and then the romance of that as well, this idea of like, maybe if it's that internal, like if it's that intense, could it be eternal as well? Like, you know what I mean? This whole idea of like being together forever or something like that. It is very very romantic. It's not always very practical, but I feel like, and we talked about this as well, that this is unusual as well, because like some people might say, oh, it's because they're teenagers or whatever, it's so dramatic, blah blah
Hmm.
blah. But
Hmm.
I feel like this is actually really unusual for teenagers. Like, this is not a normal teenage crush relationship. This is already very adult. The way they're dealing with each other, the way they move around each other, the way they already respect one another. It's really, really adult.
It's special. And it's special.
Yeah. And they get
And
each other. It's so
it is
funny.
one of those stories where it's like they were made for each other and
Yeah.
the universe pushes them together, and if they do not end up together, they will not be happy.
Yeah.
They might not survive.
Yeah.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Can you read my mind?
Why?
Because it was so funny. I was trying to get to that point, and I had in my head like Romeo and Juliet. Should I say Romeo and Juliet? When should I say Romeo and Juliet? Should I say Romeo and Juliet? And then you're like Romeo and Juliet. I'm like,
You know why? It's because we both like literature and stuff, so we have the same like references in our brain.
probably.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I feel like,
So you were talking about like this idea of like the tragedy and desperate romance and all the rest of it, and how romantic and all the rest of it was. And the other thing that makes it them like it's so perfect, but it also fits that whole tortured potential, tortured love thing perfectly as well, is because they get each other the way no one else gets them. Like they understand each other so fully, and yet they're also the ones who misunderstand each other because they're not communicating or whatever. Like it's like they've got to this point where they feel like they're both exactly the same. It's not like, I don't feel like it's just Kang who feels like this or just Salom. Like they are both exactly the same person in this, I feel like. So like it's like Salom is like, sorry, Kang is like, I don't understand why you don't understand. Like he's like,
yeah,
you know me, you know how I feel, you know my feelings, you know
yeah,
the way my brain works. Like, and they're both like that, which is why
yeah,
I feel like Salom gets so pissed when Kang starts bringing Pimfara into it and all the rest of it, is because it's like it came from nowhere. Like it came from
yeah,
nowhere for us, but also came from nowhere for him as well. So like,
yeah. I
but
think it
they,
came from nowhere for Kang as well.
yeah, well, yeah, true.
In a way.
But like, it's like they have these moments where they just get each other so wholly and interesting intrinsically that they like just fit together perfect, and so they expect each other to do that all the time, and it's just not possible, especially when they're not communicating properly, or when one person is acting a certain way, like for example Kang flirting the fuck out of himself with Salom, and then talking about like, I'm in love with Pimpa, like two conflicting things. Like, how do you read that? You know what I mean? Like, and especially if you're unsure of yourself and if you're unsure of your own feelings or your own like position in that person's life, like
Yeah,
you
status.
you know you start to have doubts and misunderstand and all the rest of it. And so of course they're both like so perfect because they really get each other, they really understand, they understand what the other person I think what it is I actually think what it is they don't actually get each, like, okay, I'm going to scratch what I just said. Don't cut it out though, because it still works. But I feel like they don't get each other necessarily, like in terms of how they function, like what they're always thinking or like feeling or like whatever. Like they're pretty good. They're pretty close most of the time. But a lot of these times you need to use your words, or you need to use your actions, whatever. But what they do get about each other is what the other person needs.
Mm-hmm.
Like they really
Yeah, I understand.
understand.
They kind of like see concepts of each other. They
Yeah,
understand concepts of each other, and then they need to, based on that concepts, they judge each other and try to understand what is happening and why they do the things that they do.
yeah,
I wonder if, because we know they have the friends involved and the friends know them very well, I wonder if they will end up helping them understand each other more. Because, for example, Otto, Otto can help Kang understand Salom better.
mm,
Because I feel like Otto is able to understand both Kang's and Salom point of view. And maybe I'll also Pimfa. I had a thought about it. Like, if they introduce them and it's like they are in the circle, they address this, they see everything, they kind of get involved with their approval and everything, will they have at some point some conversation where they try to help them?
yeah. I mean, I feel like it's definitely in the realm of possibility because like they're a part of it now. They're a part of their bubble, so to speak.
Yeah,
And so that maybe if there is conflict in the future or whatever, they may help assist with that, especially if they can see that, like, what they mean to each other and what they could be to each other. Like, they're going to see it's worthwhile, so they may get involved. But yeah, I just it's an interesting concept, this whole idea of being like perfectly matched, in that, you know, this person needs this and this person needs to give that to that person. Like, that's how they function, the two of them, you
Yeah.
know. And what this other person needs, this person needs to give that to them, you know. So like we were saying, like, this whole idea of Kang needing this emotional support from Salom, and Salom needing like this just support, basically, like almost like rescuing kind of. And they completely get that part about each other. Like, they understand that, and they get that. But it's all the rest of it. It's like the messiness of like real life that gets in the way. And so it's so interesting to me that they get each other so well, but yet they misunderstand each other. And also this like misunderstanding that happenings, this like confusion and hurt that comes from that, is even worse, because like this is the person that it matters the most for. So like they have that, you know, capability of like really, really, once again, hurting the other person, even
Yeah.
if it's unintentional. So that's where I was going to go with what we were talking about before. But anyway, so moving along
I want
to
to say that it's funny how we have this thing, a conversation at the table, and the grandma asks about the game. And again, we have this metaphor with the game. And Kang says, "We won. I even came close to scoring a goal myself, but my teammate took the shot. But there are plenty more chances." And I feel like basically that's what happened to his relationship with Salom at this
mm.
moment.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
come on, Salom's heart is his. Salom is there with him at the table in his house. He did not leave. He's still there. We don't see him packing his bags or anything. Like, he expressed his feelings towards Kang. Kang basically knows that Salom is hurt because he made him misunderstand his own feelings.
Mm,
So he won. Like, he even came close to scoring the goal himself. He tried to
mm,
do something there. It did not work though.
mm.
But there are plenty more chances. He's going to
Yeah.
try again.
Well, I mean, it's definitely a metaphor, because I love how he says that, and he's just like, I have more opportunities to score or whatever, and like Salom just like runs away. Like, he freaks him like the fuck out, and he just like takes off. I do talk about that in a minute. I will get to the dinner table eventually, but I'm gonna skip forward to the bit about how we're going back to the flashback of the kiss. And
Mhm.
I do love how like Kane just lets him leave the bathroom, because like I feel like we saw how aggressive he was like at the beginning of that scene, where he, you know, drags him to the bathroom. There's a lot of manhandling going along. He's you know, he's very possessive and controlling when that scene starts. And so I love how he just lets him go. It's like, especially because, you know, he desperately doesn't want Salom to leave. Like, you can see he doesn't want to let him go, but he's like, he respects him enough, I guess, not to go there in front of his friends. Or maybe it's not respect. Maybe it's fear driven. I don't know. Because it's so
I feel
interesting.
like I feel like he understands that Salom needs
Time.
that conversation. He
Mm.
needs the truth. He needs to know his mind. And he, right at that moment, he was not able. Maybe he would have gotten there. Maybe he would have said things if the friends didn't get involved.
Yeah. I feel like he knows
Like,
him enough. Once again, it's that part of the thing where he knows him enough to let him go. And I feel like it's a kind of a respect for him not to push it, I guess. But it's so interesting because he's just so different later on. Like, once Salome accepts him, or at least gives him a taste of acceptance by opening the bathroom door. Like, now we're at the bathroom door in the bed in the house. He's just so much bolder. Like, so I mean, it could have been a little bit of fear as well, but I feel like it was mostly respect. And also, I feel like in that moment he doesn't, it's like kind of what you're saying too, but he doesn't know how to get Salom to listen to him and understand him. Like, he's just tried his version of words, which were like not really like, I don't like seeing you with anybody else. Like that's not really that clear. Um and also he's tried with physical action by kissing him, and now he's lost. It's like I feel like he feels like he failed a little bit as well. So he's regrouping, like he's like, okay, now all right, let's try and
Again.
score again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then to go back to the dinner table, like I know in this scene it's not important to the characters who are actually in this scene. It's like not important in this moment to Kang and Salome, because this moment at the dinner table is very much about them and their intimacy issues. I'm like, yeah, let's call it intimacy issues. That's not really the right word, but And Grandma's like trying to interact with them. And now Salome is getting ready to run and Kang's getting ready to like throw down. But like this scene isn't about what I'm about to say. But the fact that in this scene, when Kang has had this sort of, I guess, big moment for him, this football game, whatever, Grandma has acknowledged it by bringing it up at the dinner table. And although we see his dad is like there with a stupid grin on his face and like nodding along to whatever Grandmother's saying or whatever, he doesn't actually say anything. There's no words of encouragement. There's nothing. Clearly Kang is upset or distracted or conflicted. There's something going on there, because like Grandma even sort of questions him about it by saying like, did you lose? Because he seems so conflicted about his response. And like his dad is just silent. He's just sitting there grinning like a fool. And it's just like his silence in this moment for me was so deafening. Like I guess it was made even more like, I don't know kind of how to express it, but kind of stark in the difference, because it's like he's totally not needed there. He doesn't belong there. He's not a part of this family interaction. Like he's literally just an extra in this scene. He could be a doll or a dummy. Like they don't need him for this scene at all. And I'm not saying that like as a direction, like from the director to the actor, like he didn't need to be used. I'm saying like literally in this moment in their lives, he's not needed. Like he's an extra in this moment. And it's like,
Fact,
I'm
even
like,
the thing that, yeah, even the thing that Kang says, like this whole thing with the game I scored, whatever, I feel like it's addressed to Salome, it's a bit addressed to Grandma, but it's not, in no way it's addressed to Kang's father. Like
he
he
doesn't
knows
even,
nothing from what
yeah.
he said will get to his father.
Well, it's
Nothing.
like I must admit I didn't actually pay too much attention to like Kang's response in regards to whether or not he's acknowledging his father even exists in this scene, but I feel like he doesn't. Like I might need to watch it again. But I was just so taken back by the father that I wasn't actually paying too much attention to Kang in regards to like his, whether he's actually, I don't even know if he even looks in the father's direction, if I'm being honest. Like I need to watch that because now I'm curious.
I don't think so. Like it's Grandma and it's Salome, and it's all that
Yeah,
exists at the
that's
moment.
right. And I feel like so it's like I'm saying like he's an extra in this moment, and I feel like he's like that in Kang's life too. And
Mm.
it's so fucking sad. Like it's like the more we get along in this, the more I'm starting to sympathize and be afraid and be scared for Kang. And it's so funny because I feel like we're meant to be concerned and scared and want all the best things for Salome. And don't get me wrong, I totally do. Like, but I feel like we're meant to feel that way because of his situation, but also
Mm-hmm.
because of how Kang feels. Like Kang wants all those things. But I feel like I'm just like, Kang, oh my god, you're breaking my heart. Like Kang doesn't actually care in this moment. Like this doesn't have anything to do with him in this moment. He does not even know. I feel like he does not even really know his father's sitting at the dining table, like for real, which is so interesting knowing their dynamic and everything. But this whole moment is for him is about Salome. Like the fact that Grandma would probably be invisible too, but it's just because she's actually verbally interacting with him that she's present in this moment with him. Whereas the father's lack of presence means like, why the fuck did he even bother coming home? Like I'm like, why have dinner with them at all? Like why don't he just keep working
It's like Ken
or
kind
do
of
what?
gave up on his father. Doesn't it feel like
Yeah,
this?
it does, it does, and it's
He
like
gave up.
yeah, and I feel like I just like want to say to him like, why don't you just keep working? Like, why don't you just keep doing whatever the fuck it is you do when you're not at home? Because I feel like in this moment he's literally just there for the food and that's it, and I'm just like, fuck him. And I got like so angry, but anyway, okay.
Yeah.
So that's what I meant when I said I had like so much to say, like, because I really wanted to talk about the kiss, the memory of the kiss, but I also wanted to talk about how angry his father made me. And as I said, like, I know in that moment, like for the characters, it doesn't mean anything. Like you could tell, like as I said, it means nothing to Kang in that moment. Like he's just like whatever. He is so preoccupied with Salome, he just doesn't give a shit. But it's like I was so angry on his behalf, like for real. Okay, but moving along, I love the bit as well when it comes to the bathroom door, like when he basically is like chasing after Salome at this point. Like he's so bold. because we talked about earlier about him not really following through and stuff, like in the kiss, in that, you know, like, and things like that. Like, he really wasn't being very clear. I mean, he thinks he was being clear, but he wasn't. And, you know, like,
Yeah.
Salom was avoiding his eyes and all the rest of it. And like everyone else, we talked about, I think at the end of episode 6 and the critical discussion for episode 6, we discussed how brave Pimfar was in that episode and how brave Salom was in that episode. And Kang, like, just, he really wasn't, you know. I mean, he was a little bit in the end,
Yeah.
but like not really.
Yeah.
But like,
And this is the episode where he is brave. Yeah.
yeah,
Here, when he expresses his feelings, and also later when he says, when he tells Otto, when he responds why he's trying to be friends with them.
yeah.
When he
But not even
responds
that, but like
honestly.
even the bit where he rescues Otto as well. Like, this whole episode, he was
Yeah.
super
Oh,
brave.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he was so bold. Like, after episode 6, like, I guess, I don't know, bold is the right word, but here, and compared to everyone else in this episode who was super bold and brave in episode 6, he really wasn't. But like, in this moment, it more than makes up for it. I mean, like, he's so brave in this moment, like standing outside Salom's door when he's in the bathroom. Like, he just lays it all down there. Like, and I feel like he's so endearing in the scene when they're
Yeah.
in the bedroom
And
talking as
charming.
well.
Yes.
I
Okay.
just love, like, and I mean, I did that whole, you did that really cool mum post about the bathroom scenes and that on Tumblr. And hey, for anyone listening, we have a Tumblr account. It's critically OBS, which is also our Twitter handler if you're into that as well. But yeah, you did that whole bathroom post, which was really interesting, and then I responded to it and we talked about this scene like at
Yeah.
length. And I really don't know that I've really got much to say beyond what we've already said in the post. I mean, we could read the post, but I feel like if anyone's interested, they could go and have a look. But did you have anything that you wanted to say specifically about this particular scene between them?
I thought it was funny how Kang first tries to go to the outside door, and Salome is like trying to, pretend that he's asleep or something. And then when he hears that Kang went away, he looks up, he looks at the door, and he's like, no. Like, he knows Kang well enough to know that he's not going to just let it go. And so it was so funny when he realizes that Kang actually goes through the bathroom door. His face is like he would not dare.
Yeah, I found this part of the scene, like, oh, it's funny because, you know, like, you're like, this is amusing, and we totally talk in like quite in depth and like with theories and stuff in the Tumblr post. But like, just while you were talking, I was just thinking about this scene, and I did have a thought about it previously, but I'm gonna bring it back because it's really kind of amusing to me, but also I'm like kind of interested / confused. So he goes to the bedroom door, and like, I'm going to assume he can't, because let's face it, a door has never stopped Kang, so I'm assuming he can't get in that way because the door is locked, right? So, and Kang and Salom seems really safe and confident, like pretending he's asleep in his bed. Like, he's like, he can't get to me, I'm all right, like, I can, you know, survive another day without being, you know, like having to like actually make a decision. And then when he realizes, as you said, he's going to the bathroom, he's like, oh shit. He jumps up and runs for the door because he knows he can get in through there. So this to me is like one of two things. One, there is no lock on that door between the bathroom and the bedroom, which is weird because it's shared with another bathroom / bedroom like user. Or he didn't lock that door, which subconsciously means that he was leaving the door open to a certain extent. Like, he you know, so either I really want to know. I'm hoping we'll get a scene like in the future where like maybe Kang is pissed off or something, and not Kang, Saloma's pissed off, and he'll like lock the door, because I want to know if that door has a lock on it or not. Because if it doesn't, well, first off, that's interesting. But if it does, then he consciously didn't, you know, or unconsciously didn't lock it. So it's like, it's interesting. But I love that like, oh shit moment he has, and he just like bolts for the door. Yeah, it was very funny. But
Another thing that I find funny is how I feel like when Kang says, if you open your heart to me, can you open the door to me? It's like the creators of the series are directly telling us, guys, watch out for the door stuff. It actually means something,
I know, it was like, high five, we're correct. It's like, I felt validated. Did you feel validated? Yeah.
Of course.
Our existence has been validated. Now we just need to get them to address the bathroom thing again. Although I feel like the fact that they keep like adding the bathroom stuff to it, we're pretty much on the right track. I remember, like, just when I'm thinking about this, my response to a post on Tumblr tonight from Kess the North Face, which I think I sort of was trying to explain earlier on, and I don't know if I really did it the way I wanted to, but yeah, basically, she was sort of mentioning, I guess, yeah, she was sort of mentioning the fact that, you know, about what was going to happen, you know, to this idea of when money comes back in and, like, you know, being able to buy Salom being for sale, and like how King is going to react to that. And I was just like, you know, is he going to regret that? I feel like yes. And yeah, his words might get thrown back. Yeah.
I
um
want to say, I want to say the sentence, he is hoarding all these moments and bits and pieces of knowledge and he wants them all for himself. I'm in love with it. I want to tattoo this somewhere on my body. Like, I'm seriously considering it.
I'm like, oh, that's really sweet, thank you.
You're
um
welcome. See what like this.
for anyone who's listening, you guys should actually really go and check out Kessa North Face's Tumblr account. She's writing some really interesting stuff. Yeah. Basically, she wrote, like, in this particular post, I think she wrote like about 5 lines, and I was like, oh yes, I must respond. And she triggered all this stuff, all these feelings and all these thoughts, and at the end of it I was like, wow, okay, I don't have anything to talk about, we can't record tonight, I'm done. But it turned out I actually had a lot to say. So yeah, but I mean, I just sort of responded something I mentioned along the lines about Kang losing his mind because, you know, once again, he's jealous. He's like super, super jealous. But we were talking about like this earlier as well, about this whole issue about Solom trying to solve everything himself, you know, like not going to Kang for help. When, like, honestly, that would be the most simple. I mean, we don't know the circumstances. We don't actually know what's going to happen. I mean, this show has been really good at surprising us. So
Yeah,
it may be a situation where, like, he really, honestly, truly, without any sort of negative connotations, feels like he cannot go to Kang for this.
yeah,
Maybe something that Sapphire does has already, like, damaged
hurt.
them in some way, so he feels like he couldn't possibly, like, impose on them any more than he already is, or like whatever.
Yeah,
So
because I had this thought. Some podcasts ago we had this conversation about what if Saifa does something to the family, and if that happens, like Salom might not be welcome in that house anymore. But then I thought, it might not even be that. Like, if Saifa does something to Kang's family, Salom, being the way he is, he will not want to stay there. He will
yeah,
feel guilty. He will feel responsible. He will be the one to leave, even if
yeah,
they
he
drag
would
him
he would
to
feel
stay.
uncomfortable, yeah, and maybe feel like he's not welcome. I feel like it's like we were talking before, and I don't think it was in the podcast, I think it was the conversation we had before we started recording, but we were talking before about, like, if something bad happens in that house, like, if grandma is around, like, grandma is way more understanding. Like, I feel like if Sophia did do something, and even if he, like, you know, stole from grandma or whatever, like,
Mhm.
grandma is not going to hold Salom responsible for that. Neither
Yeah,
would Kang, right?
yeah,
In instance, like, I feel like Kang has kind of got a rough idea about what's going on. I feel like that's why we get that. We sort of got a bit of a side eye at the end of the episode when Sophia turned up. Like, I feel like Kang was, like, gauging how he should react based on how Salom reacts, you know. And when Salom's sort of like, Kang's like, okay, well, we're all right for now. But I feel like if Salom had been like, you need to leave, like, Kang would have backed him. But, like, I feel like if Salom is like, okay, well, we'll see what happens, Kang's like, okay, well, we'll see what happens. I feel like he knows him well enough to follow his lead, and also to realize, to follow Salom's lead on, you know, what to do and how to deal with Sapphire. But I also feel like he knows enough, like, he's got the rough idea of the bigger picture that he's looking at in regards to, like, how they got to the place that they're in, you know. Like, it's clearly not Salom who's, like, causing drama, basically. So I feel like Kang is aware of the situation. So I feel like if Sapphire did something, Kang's not going to hold him responsible for it, unless something actually happened to grandma, not like, you know, something was taken, but like physical harm to grandma.
yeah,
Like, I can feel like, I don't think he would blame Salon, but I could understand him being like, angry
Angry
in
first.
general.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
it just sort of like overflowing in his direction. But whereas we were talking about the father, like I can completely see the father like,
Misjudging.
yeah, like tarring them with the same brush, so to speak. That's a really
Yeah.
old fashioned saying, but like basically painting them the same, because I feel like he is very, I was saying this earlier, he's very us and them. Like he sees Salom, and he sees Salom as the poor kid who's tutoring his,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
scholarship kid who's tutoring his son. Like he doesn't see him as like his son's, just his son's, another one of his son's friends or whatever. Like that's not how I think he sees him.
Yeah, he doesn't even see his son for who he is, actually.
Well,
You
true.
do think he'd see someone else, like someone like who lives in his
True,
house.
true. Excellent point there.
How prominent the tutor-student dynamic is this in this episode? Have you noticed? Like it's so present. Salom giving Kang a task, testing him. Kang follows Salom's lead a lot of times in this episode, like when he, for example, gives up his seat when he goes to save Otto because Salom is the first one who tried to go there. When like there's a lot of moments, I forgot some of them, but this is basically what's happening in this episode. And I feel like it's so funny how at first he tries to get closer to Salom's friends by judging them as if they're like Salom.
Mm.
He's trying to do the same thing that kind of worked with Salom with the friends, but it doesn't really work because Salom is special. He is a bit different, and the
Well, I
friends are
love
a bit
I love
more.
how Salom is just like, you can't buy my friends, and then Otto's like, give me all the money. He's like, buy
They
me,
can
give me
go
air conditioner, I will eat all the food, like totally, you know. And I feel like probably that would have been enough. Like it's like when they're in the bar, we're just jumping ahead again now, but when they're in the bar and he's still angry at Max, I think it is, and he says sort of says to him, you burnt my ticket, and he's like, oh my bad, I'll buy you a new one. And suddenly he's like, oh yeah, that's all right, let's do that, it's all good.
good boy.
And yeah, and then he calls him good boy too, and I can't help but draw the parallel between that and the bit at the end when Salom calls Kang my good boy, because my mum keeps going to me. My mum was watching this as well. She's like, I don't know, 70s, but anyway, she's loving it. And she keeps saying to me, because like obviously we've got this secondary couple happening between, well, at least it definitely heavily seems like that's what's going to happen between
Yeah,
Guy and
Nava.
Nava, I think. And but my mum keeps saying, are you sure that like Otto and Max aren't gonna have something? I'm like, I'm pretty sure like that Otto likes girls because he's obsessed with like that singer or something. But that doesn't I mean, you can be gay and still like be obsessed with a musical or famous person, so I don't think that really necessarily matters. But I don't know, I'm just like, I don't really see it. And my mom's like, oh, they totally should, they'd be so cute. I'm just like, oh my god, okay, this is where I get it from. I'm like, let's make everybody gay. No, okay. Anyway, and so I'm like, I don't really, when I say that, I don't mean that. I think everybody should just love everybody because it's way more fun.
Yeah.
But I don't think there necessarily needs to be labels. I'm like, let's just all be in love. It's funny because what I was saying was, like he totally could have like essentially bought him, but then he does this thing, this really big thing where he helps Otto, and like he didn't need to, he didn't have to, he could have just hung back and like, let him become somebody else's problem or whatever. And yet he didn't. He essentially sacrificed himself for Salom's friends.
He
And I
takes
do,
responsibility
yeah, I
because he's
do,
the one who got them there.
yeah. But it's like the kind of probably the worst time for him to do that, because once again we get that whole scene with the father, and yeah, we'll get to that. Um, but yeah, I'm just like, we're talking about, Salom solving problems himself, and it's like, I don't understand why he wouldn't. I mean, I do, but I don't understand why he wouldn't just ask King for monetary assistance if he needs it. But then, as I said, we don't know the circumstances around what's going to happen. And there's a lot of pride, I guess, in there as well. But it's like he doesn't even need to ask King for like money. He could ask him just like for help brainstorming, come up with a different plan, But deciding to escort again, if that's what happens and everything, especially if they're dating, I feel like that would be enough to upset you, because I mean, like, okay, Selom may have lines drawn about what that actually means in terms of like you know, I'll do this job, but I'm literally just going to have like dinner with these people or whatever. Because obviously there are escorts that don't have sex with people. They go on dates and that's it. But like even dates, do you know what I mean? Like if they're boyfriends, then like that's kind of you have to be really
Especially
mature.
for someone who's that possessive as Kang is, that's not
Yeah,
something
but it
he's going to accept.
I feel like, you know, like I'm all for like you know, no one owns you. Your body is your own. Like even if you're in a relationship, like whatever, you own your own self. You have your own designation and discrepancy to control your own destiny. And so like no one can tell you like you can't do this or you shouldn't do this, especially like not when it comes to your own body and stuff. But I feel like if you're in a loving relationship with somebody and you respect that person, this is, even if it's just dating, like you're literally just having meals with people or whatever, I feel like this is a conversation that you would have with your partner. Like you wouldn't just
Yeah,
fuck off and do
do
it,
it.
because
Yeah.
that shows such a lack of respect and consideration of the other person's feelings. Like, and let's face it, in this respect, Kang is probably not mature enough for that kind of relationship, in that he is so possessive and so like, you know. And let's be honest, look at how Salom was with Pimfar. Like he tried to do the right thing and everything, but like he was still fucking heaps jealous. Like I keep swearing a lot. I'm really sorry. I'm feeling very passionate. I think we did
Continue to
warn for
balance.
swearing. I feel like we warned for profanity. But yeah, he's like not in a position to Kang, I mean, to accept that. But like I feel like if this is the path they're going down, probably Salom didn't actually even have that conversation with him.
The things that he considers issues in his life are so big for him and blinding, and they control so much of how he acts and what he does and why he does things, that he does not have time to think about other stuff, like how Kang would feel about this. I
Yeah.
don't think he considers
And
this.
I mean, I can understand that on one hand, because if he does this because like for him, if he doesn't, it's a life or death situation. Him not considering Kang's feelings, like considering his, as you said, the way he normally moves, the way he's always moved, it makes sense for his character. But at the same time, it still doesn't mean that it's the right thing, and it still doesn't mean that Kang doesn't have the, you know,
Yeah, no, he will fuck up. He will fuck up. Like, he looks like he's perfect and everything. He will fuck up.
yeah,
And he will hurt Kang.
he's like those, you were talking about it earlier, and it just reminded me of like a superhero or something, for example, who has this like moral compass where like even they never want to hurt anybody, like they will never kill anybody, they will never like whatever, or like. And so what ends up happening in that situation, always somebody they care about or someone who's like equally important to somebody else ends up getting killed because they let someone go who really deserved to like either die or at least be put somewhere where they can never interact with another human again. Like, and it's this, as you said, it's like it's the most drastic version of what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
you know, because he's a normal person, and obviously, but so his his idea of trying to do the right thing or whatever to the extent of like blinding him to anything else, yeah, is going to cause issues for the
He's
ones
going
he
to
cares about.
have to become more flexible.
Yeah. I feel like at this point, like, and it's easy to say that the money isn't an issue for Kang because, of course, he has money. So, like, of course, it's not an issue. But it's like he's going to have to, there's probably going to have to be a give in that as well, because I feel like, from Salom's point of view, I mean, he's going to have to accept that that's just part of who Kang is,
Mm,
and not judge him for it a little bit. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because he is judging him. Like I'm not saying that Kang isn't doing exactly what he says. Like in this episode, he talks about how like, oh, you're always trying to buy people or like, you know, control people with money or like make
Hmm.
people like you with money and all this sort of stuff. I mean, like that's not really a great thing to say to somebody you like. I mean, I get that he does do that and things like that, but at the same time as well, like you can feel the judgment. Like I could feel the
Harsh. That's
judgment.
harsh.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
that's hard
pretty
to
harsh.
say. And it fits his character though, because he is like this. He believes in his principles. Like, it fits. It's just the, like, yeah, it's like this character who seems so perfect at the beginning, but then you understand that if you had someone like this in real life, he would hurt you at some point.
Mm,
Like, the way his decisions in life would hurt the closest people to him
yeah.
at some point, in a way or another.
Yeah, I feel like in this situation, and it's like, and I mean, I said this sort of earlier when, don't get me wrong, I love Salom, I totally do, I love them both, but like, I feel like Kang is a much easier person to love. Like, if you were in a relationship, if you were in this relationship and you were Salom, it would be way easier to love Kang, whereas I feel
Yeah.
like it would be easy to love for Kang to love Salom, but it's going to be way harder
Mm-hmm,
because
mm-hmm.
he's the one who's throwing up these walls and doors and like whatever
Yeah,
else.
he will have to compromise. He will be the one who will compromise most of the time.
Yeah.
Kang.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, so I'm just like, so as I said, if they're, like together and I understand him being pissed if something like this happens because, as I said, I feel like it's at least a conversation that should happen. And if they're not together for some reason, like I don't know, maybe they split up or which like I'm just getting anxiety just even saying it, but like say they do, but they're still on good terms or whatever, like his whole sense of self-worth is tied into like and self-value is tied into like what Salom thinks of him and what he expects from him. And if Salom's like undervaluing himself so much and he's not even considering that Kang can help him, like it's like he's so undervaluing not only himself but Kang as well. And I feel like that's gonna hurt Kang more than like
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if he says the thing? Remember in the first trailer, he said something like, and we had this moment that we are dreading where with the escort thing. And in the new trailer, we don't have this, but in the first trailer, Salom says something like, "Yeah, I only used you for the money."
yeah, I
Can you
know that.
imagine? Like he could say that. He could say that, and in that moment, he
Yeah,
could.
but I feel like Kang is that's I feel like that would be one of those bobs that like you might if you were Salom you might try and throw out there, but I feel like Kang is intelligent enough to know that that's a load of bullshit because he knows that part of Salom. Do you know what I mean? Like he understands. Like he might and it's
Hope
funny.
so.
Sorry.
I hope his faith and his knowledge of Salom is stronger than his doubt in himself.
Yeah, I feel like this is the problem, right? Yeah, that's exactly right. Like I feel like he knows that about Salem. So I feel like it's one of those things, and this is what always happens, and this is why dramas are dramatic, right? Because like in the real world, like we're having this discussion and everything, and like in your intellectually, you can understand something. Like so he could completely understand that Salom acting this way is completely fitting of his personality. It fits his upbringing. It fits his whole life. Like it's really hard to change these ingrained habits that we create for ourselves, as we grow up or whatever. So like, okay, we look at Salom's past and we don't know exactly what's happened, but the parents died, we're assuming. And so there's like a sense of abandonment that comes with that. He's only had his brother who, like, for what we can tell, is fairly useless. He's had to grow up really quickly. He's had to be really responsible and, like, work really hard, save, be, studious, be all of these things. And like here's Kang who's basically like, lean on me, let me help you, let me make things better for you, make them more comfortable, let me love you, let me be there for you, which is like all things he's not had, right? Even like
Mhm.
it's like this metaphor, you keep talking about metaphors and we're talking about like the the dancing, the doors, the whatever, but the other metaphor that's really keeps coming, I keep coming back to as well, is like that first night where he's in the house, he's in the rich house and he can't sleep because the bed's too comfortable, the air conditioning's too cool, it's too
Yeah.
quiet, like he's not used to these things and it's really hard to get used to things. And the other thing is it's also really easy to get used to these things if you've never had them before, especially if you're in love and you're having fun and all the rest of it. But there's going to be a huge chunk of him that is going to be like deathly afraid that at any moment it can all go away because you assume that maybe. I mean, I'm assuming that the debt has been created by Salom not Salom, by Sapphire trying to raise Salom and like exist after the parents have died. For all we know, maybe that the parents weren't like rich, but they weren't poor either. Like, and
Mhm.
so Salom may have had like a nice childhood. You know what I mean? Like he may have had a loving, warm, never had to worry about like where the food came from or if like debt collectors were going to knock on the door or I mean we don't know, but like he could have, and then that in a blink of an eye that's all gone, and so it could happen again. So like as
Mhm.
much even as he trusts Kang and he loves him and all the rest of him, he's so like his
Scared to
existence
lose
has been
everything.
so, he's so traumatized by his like upbringing to a certain extent. It's shaped him in a way that's really hard to like change.
He's
um
afraid to rely on him because he knows that he cannot really rely on anyone because anyone can disappear on him.
yeah, or
Yeah.
disappoint him or whatever. And this is the thing, right? And so, and of course that's like the thing that Kang wants the most. He wants to be that person for him. And so, like,
But he wants that total trust.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that's really hard. I feel like it's going to be probably a reveal or some description or something where Salom may actually realize like that it's actually really easy for him to accept this new existence that they're slipping into, but that how
Mhm.
dangerous that is to him, and maybe he pulls back a bit. And that's where we get the, him going to do the escorting instead of like turning to him or something instead, because he's ultimately afraid that, as I said earlier, if he gets a true glimpse at like how ugly and dark like their true existence is, he may not, stick around or whatever. And I mean, you look at it as well, like how they started out, and even the stuff with Pimfar, like I can understand Selom being like, how sure are you about this? You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
So even him not wanting to tell anybody in the beginning, like his friends only know because like they're not stupid. So, and even when like when they're in the club and Kang wants to slow dance and all that, and Salom's like, what about if your friends work it out or find out or whatever? And Kang's like, I don't care, that would be amazing. And Salom's like, no. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like just even that is, yeah. So
Yeah.
I just feel like with the as I said, the thing that'll hurt him the most is that Salom doesn't come to him for help. Like I just feel like if he didn't expect that Kang could save him or help him or whatever, that's how, even if that's not Salom's motivation for that, that's how Kang will see it, because his self worth or his whole idea of self, or whatever, is so like low, and like he gets bolstered by this fact that he can be there or do these things for, Salom has these expectations of him or whatever. It's like it's becoming like his whole reason for existing at this point. Like he
Yeah.
lives for it.
And that's represented so well in that scene where they hug and Kang thanks him.
Yeah, he's so
He,
desperate. Like he
he,
think,
yes, he thank him for giving him hope and a reason to leave,
yeah,
basically.
like just, yeah, thank you for
A
like
reason to
accepting
try.
me. Yeah. So, but
Yeah.
it's like, and then of course, then because this is a thing, like that's it, isn't it? That's the peak pinnacle moment of that scene, is him thanking him for accepting. Thank you for accepting me. And then if he goes ahead and does this thing that we think he's gonna, like if it's pans out the way we think it's going to, he's basically saying, I don't accept you. Anyway, all right, let's move on to the really cute flirting montage.
I just noticed when he throws Salon that note with "I wanna eat you," like he gets shy, like he's surprised of himself. It's so cute.
Yeah, well, it's so funny too as
It's
well. Like he's living to get a reaction out of him, just like the start of their relationship. Only this time it's a completely different reaction that he's after. And I love how he knows, like what you're saying, like he knows how cheesy he's being. Like you see it in a couple of times, and that's one of them. Like, and he cracks himself
Mhm.
up. Like he's so amused by it and everything. And but he's still just going there because he's having so much fun
Yes,
and he's loving it.
yes,
And he's
that.
loving as well that he's finally getting a reaction from Salom, and he's like, he knows it's cheesy, he just doesn't give a fuck, he just loves it.
Yeah, yeah, and also in that moment, in the bathroom at the end when he's like, "You healed my heart" or whatever, and then they both laugh. It's just like,
Yeah, because they know how cringe it is, but it's just like, I don't care, I'm gonna say it anyway. And
yeah,
I love how he had like on the folder name, like for their assignment or whatever, on the on the USB is like, Salom is cute, Salom is narak. It's like having Salom is narak as the file name was just like, and it's so funny because like we know what narak means. Like even without the subs, I knew, like I read that,
yeah,
and I was
yeah,
just like,
yeah.
oh, that's so cute. Like I'm like, wow, this boy is so god. There's just too much that I love about this episode.
I love how they actually went and had this. They dedicated a whole episode to Kang atoning for his mistakes, for his wrongdoings to Salam's friends, and I like they included the friends as well,
Yeah.
his friends
Yeah,
in
and I
this.
love, yeah, and it's cool too because they saw him, like he was like the worst of them. Because even like when you think about it, like if we go back to like when he's like wanting to get revenge on Salome in the beginning, and he's like, comes up with his plan for the gun and everything, and his friends are like, whoa, that's too much.
He's a
Like,
leader. He's
yeah.
this very charming young man
Oh
who
yeah.
knows his way with people, who knows how to convince other people to do what he wants, and just yeah, it makes sense that he's the leader and they followed him.
Yeah. But I love
And
I love
now
in
they
the
and also that now they follow him as well and
yeah.
just, go
And
with the flow.
that's right. And I love I love in that scene though how they're just like, wow, that's a bit much, let's dial it back a bit. Like, so it's like,
Which sense?
when your group of bully peers are going, yeah, that's too much, it's time to stop.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
The
oh
the
yeah,
gun
the gun.
scene, yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, so and then of course like them witnessing him be like that as well, because they probably haven't seen him like that either. Like he's kind to them, but like he doesn't really stick his neck out for anybody, or he's not going to like go out of his comfort zone, or like this is a completely different side to him. I mean, like even Salom's friends could see that there was something like that he was so different, because I love how
Yeah.
guys like I love how they're like, what did you do to him? And Salom's like, nothing, but then he's all like
Yeah, and then he says, "Yeah, I can see that he actually changed, and that's why I approve
yeah,
of him."
yeah, you can date him. I'm like, yeah, okay, thanks for that, Dad.
Yeah.
He was like, I
Yeah, but
approve.
it's like impossible not to notice how much he changed.
Oh, for sure, for sure. But I feel like his friends are superficial as well to a certain extent, and their friendship is superficial. So like he doesn't.
I felt yeah, because I felt kind of uncomfortable during that scene in the bar. Kang kind of went back to this default mode in a bit. His demeanor was a bit different. He behaved a bit differently. Like he wasn't really his real self. The only time that when it felt like he was himself in that moment when they were seated at the table was when he asks Otto, "What do you think? Do you like it?" And at first Otto says no, and then you can see this mask falling off his face for a moment, and then he puts it back on when Otto says like, "No, actually, yeah, I like it," blah blah.
Mm,
Because
yeah,
he felt different, and then when he's just with Salom, he's himself again. But before that, like he's different. He's
yeah.
just
I think we're meant to see that though, because there is this distinction between them and their like little bubble and everything. And I feel like as I said, like his friendship with his friends, in comparison to say like Salom's friendship with his friends, is completely different. It's so superficial. They don't really know, like they
yeah.
don't know anything deep about him. But I feel like the good thing about this is I'm hoping we'll actually get to see their friendship become a real friendship.
Yeah, because even when he was with Salom's friends, he was real.
Yeah.
He said the honest things, direct things, like I want you guys to like me, I want blah blah blah. But when Nava asks
Mm.
him what's going on, why did you bring them here? He was like he did not really want to answer. He was like, well, consider this
Yeah,
what
but
did
I
he say?
feel I wasn't too concerned about that though, because I feel like that is in that instance he doesn't really have anything he can tell them, essentially, because basically Salom has said he doesn't want them to know, and also they're not actually together yet. So like
But he
it's
did invite them there. He could have, tried to like, guys, I want us to become friends. Like the same thing that he said to Salom's friends in the beginning. He could have said it to his
oh
friends.
yeah, about being close with
He
Salom and
didn't.
how
Like
he wants to,
he
yeah. Yeah, I get
he
that. Yeah,
held
he
this
totally
back
could have. But as I
because
said,
it's
I feel
superficial. But yeah, I love this. I love what you said. Like it's going to be fun to see him become actually real with his friends because he
yeah.
hasn't been with them. Even
No.
in in the last episode when his friends made him Pinfas partner for cheerleading, like he did not turn to them to say anything to them. He did not react at all because they don't have a real connection. So
Yeah.
it's going to be fun to see them actually become real friends.
Well, I think it's also going to be fun to see them find out about Kang and Salom, because obviously Salom's friends like worked it out on their own, and they were like, okay, well this makes sense because like you've both been acting like as weird as fuck. Whereas from Kang's friend's point of view, like the last they knew, he was like hung up on Pimfar. And the
Yeah.
thing is before he was actually like acting like he was hung up on them, they just assumed that he liked her because they were good friends and she's a girl. Like they've made an assumption about the fact that he likes to spend time with her because. Whereas, like, it's very clear in the very beginning of the show that they are just friends. Like, that's the impression you get from them, from their interactions. There's nothing romantic about
Yeah.
their interactions at
Yes,
all.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
but at the end of this episode, they might actually know because they saw what Kang did for Otto. They saw how much he changed. Also, the moment before the game when like Kang was flirting big time with Salom, and everyone was watching there. Everyone was watching them and listening to what they were saying. I
oh
mean, come on.
yeah, I mean, like, for real, he's just like, I'm gonna win the game for you, and so I was like, just win it for everyone.
Making such a big show out of it.
I know, it's like,
It
that's
would be
so.
surprising if they continue to make fools out of Kang's friends. I think they should know by now already.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is I feel like, I mean, obviously, the hostil, like, the interactions between Nava and Guy are still like, I mean, they're hilarious, but there's still like friction there, obviously. But I feel like they're the kind, like, I feel like even if they make them a couple, like, they're still going to be kind of competitive, or they're still going to be, like, I feel like they're the kind of couple that would still have friction, just purely and simply because, like, it's like a passion thing rather than like a.
You know what's funny? I usually don't like scenes with drunk people. Like
Yeah.
even to make a funny scene with drunk people. The only one that I found funny up until now was, have you watched Strong Girl Bong Soon?
Oh yeah, I love that show
Yeah,
so much.
you remember the scene with the cop and the main hero? They get drunk and they have this funny interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I laughed a lot at that scene. And then this one, at first I was like, oh my god, okay, they're going to be silly again. But it was so funny and it was so cute because they just the way they interacted, like from being antagonistic to each other to just trying to just being gentlemen with each other, and I'm going to save you. No, I'm going to save you.
Yeah, but
And
I love
one
how
of
that.
them
But
trying to.
yeah, but my point I was making is that even when they were like, it was almost like kind of like semi flirting. They were still arguing about who was going to do what, and I'm just like, I feel like they're that couple. Like, everyone has like those friends where, like, they are literally like, they will fight about like every single thing. Like, they will literally fight about like who's going to sit where when you go out to dinner or something, and it'll be like
Uh-huh.
really stupid, and you get to the point where you just kind of basically like block them out because they're literally always fighting. And if they're not fighting, you look over and they're like trying to like have sex on the table or something, and you're just like, what the hell? Because like 5 minutes ago they were just like fighting. Like, they're that couple, I reckon.
They're interesting. They're like this episode made them much more interesting to me.
Well, they're
The
slowly,
way.
I mean, it's like they'll let their guards down too as well now, I guess, because they don't have to be. There's not this segregation between them anymore. I mean, it's
Yeah.
definitely interesting to see what'll happen with the friendship groups as well. I am, but yeah, I was just like, there's just too much I loved about this episode. Like, I had to stop. Like, even just the first part of the episode, I could have gone on and on and on and on and on and on. There's a few ons in there you could probably delete. But I could have gone on forever, and I just feel like I love all of it. I love how even when they're not together yet, they're kind of on hold until he makes it right with the friends and that. But I love how he's still like flirting super hard. I love that Salome is like simping so bad. And I love how like earnest he is about getting the friend's approval, and how much it means to him, and how like hard he's trying, and how serious he is about it. Because the last time we saw him being this serious as well is when he was doing the tutoring thing, because he was so afraid of Salome getting hurt again and wanting to protect him, and we sort of getting the same sort of intensity again from him. It's like when he loses the game at the end, it's like, obviously he's probably disappointed because he lost or like whatever, but he's like, he doesn't even really seem like that bummed about it from that point of view. I mean, it's like he feels like he let Salome down, but more importantly, he's like super bummed that like he let Guy down. Like, he's so concerned about what Guy must be thinking about him. And I know obviously like the goal was to make Salome's friends like him so that Salome would go out with him. But at this point in time, like, you can tell he actually gives a shit whether or not Guy likes him, like, as a
You
friend.
know what's funny? You know what's funny?
Mm.
Like everything that he does, basically, Kang is on a mission in this episode, and he
Mm.
behaves like he doesn't care how he looks, so how, because he has the Siloam approved stamp on himself, and he's like, does all this crazy stuff. But anyway, basically, all the things that he does in this episode end up in failure. He wants to help them buy stuff. Failure. He faints. Like,
Mm.
it's bad. He wants to get Otto to, have fun in a bar. Failure, because they get into trouble. He wants to win the game to get Guy's approval.
Mm.
Failure, because he loses a game, right?
Yeah.
And in the end, this is basically that thing from the beginning again. I did not get to score, but he won the big game because
Mm.
he did get the approval
Yeah. Well, I
of the
mean,
friends,
this
even
is the
though that he
thing.
did not score. This whole episode is that thing that he says at the beginning.
Mm. Mm.
Like, he did not score in any of these things that he tried, but he won the fucking big game.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love this.
Yeah, it's clever. And it's like he's Fred, like when Guy's talking about it as well, it's like he's just like he's kind of like baffled, not baffled, but he's just like, we were just testing him. He's like, clearly he's changed, like, because he just tried so hard, like. And it's funny because as you said, what you're saying is completely true, and it's just but it's so interesting to me though as well at the same time that he is all twisted up inside about like the big game, so to speak, but it's
Mhm.
not because it's not because he lost necessarily. It's just like somewhere along the line in this episode, what's important to Salom became like so important to him. And so like these friends, we know that Salom's friends mean a lot to him. I mean that their
Yeah,
whole relationship started because of how much Salom's friends mean to him.
yeah,
And so like he gets to get the friends on his own, even though like he said he fails, but he bonds. Like he might
yeah,
fail, like he fails but he wins. So okay, so for
yeah.
example, it with the scene where you know he takes Otto out, they get into trouble, but he rescues Otto and they bond over this like moment. Like I loved that scene so much, the little like taps and pats and like hugs and arms around the shoulder. Like I love that so much. And I love like when he went over to like I just love the whole scene where he does it. Like he's because he knows like Salom's gonna go. He knows Salom can't go because Salom will get into trouble. Like there's already one person who's gonna get into trouble. Rich kids don't get into trouble because money talks, right? So he goes, and I love his friend's
Follows his
reaction.
tutor.
Sorry.
He follows his tutor.
Yeah, that's right. He follows
That's
his
what Solomon
example.
do.
Yeah, he's led by
Yeah.
his example. That's correct. I loved how we saw the friend's reaction, his friends and Guy. And I love the bit with Salom, how we see Salom where he's just like, that's why I love him. Like that's so his reaction, like his face is perfect.
Oh
Um
my god.
it's like
Chimon's
one
acting here is just like, oh.
yeah, it's like one quarter like damn my man's fine and that's why I love him. Like it's like it's coy but also like he's
You
so
know
good.
what I think?
All at the
It's
same
it's
time.
so it's such a pity, but that Kang did not see that look on Salom's face. But it's also a good thing that because he would have died like out of overdose for approval overdose or something.
Oh
Like
yeah,
he would have died.
it would have brought him to his freaking knees, man. Like for real. I just love that whole scene with Otto. Like I love the moment when he goes over to him and like Otto's reaction to him being there and everything because obviously he wasn't expecting that at all, and it's just so I love like he may have failed in like his execution of that. Like he failed obviously with the shopping thing and then he failed in the execution of this, but like by doing what he does, like he bonded with Otto all on his own, right? And then now for Guy, they're forging this relationship together because they have shared interests. They have football, like he fails at that. But at the same time, he impresses Guy because he's tried so hard. And also, like, I guess he also sees like the other shared interest they have obviously is Salom. And so seeing how hard he's trying for Salom is enough for Guy. Like I was like, yep, okay, seal of approval. But yeah, I
Yeah.
just like as I said, he broke my heart all over the place in this episode. And when they finally
I
got
think
together, I was just like, yeah, okay, I'm done, mic drop.
I really like the characters Otto and Guy. They're really well defined.
Yeah.
not so much with the other characters, with Salom's friends.
I feel
Like
like
Pim
that's on
is very
purpose
well
though.
described.
I feel
I'm
I
sorry?
feel I feel like that's on purpose though.
Not yet, because Kang doesn't really know them yet. That's
Yeah,
why
so
we don't really know
yeah,
them
that's
yet.
what I mean. That's what I mean. I feel like
Yeah,
that's why it's I feel like that's why they're kind of two-dimensional, because
yeah,
we only see them through Kang's eyes, and we see Nava through Guy's eyes. And with the scenes with Nava and Guy, we see more about Nava than we do with his interactions with,
yeah,
like, his
yeah,
scenes with Guy are way more telling than his scenes with
yeah.
Kang.
Otto has this mediator character. I really love Otto. I really love his
I know, I
character.
love him so much too. So we were talking about in this episode how how Kang is following his tutor, he's following Salom's example, and all the rest of it. And then
Yeah,
earlier we were talking about this unbending, unyielding Salom in his, integrity, in his like whatever. And I feel like the ultimate goal of this show, besides like their bad romance, is going to be the fact that Kang is going to teach him lessons.
yeah.
In how
Oh yeah,
I feel like Kang is gonna teach. It's funny because like it started. This whole thing
to be more
started
flexible. Yeah,
with Kang wanting Salom to bend and bow down to him, and I feel like it's going to end with Kang teaching Salom how to bend and but not break, not
to be
debrogate
flexible.
himself. Yeah,
How to be flexible because he's
without
rigid. He's rigid as fuck. Like he
yeah
was ready to fuck up his life because he didn't want to say sorry to Kang in front, like, because he
yeah.
did not
So
feel like he was.
basically, I feel like he's
It's
gonna
fucked
Kang's
up.
gonna
It's
yeah
drastic.
yeah. Kang is going to teach him how to bend without compromising himself.
Sometimes it's okay. I mean, it's honorable and everything, but sometimes just like that conversation from Not Me between Wyatt and Sean, where do you really like? Sometimes it's better to try other things and not be really drastic about things because you ultimately want to get to your goal, right?
Yeah,
And if you just become the victim or the martyr, you're not going to get that and it's not going to matter. So
yeah,
you need to be smart about something, but also be flexible. So this is what Salom, he has his arc. He needs to undergo this change. The way Kangxi changes, it's so easy to see, but with Salom, it's a bit more
mm.
complicated, but it
But
still has to happen.
yeah, I feel like it'll be really interesting though, as I said, if it's Kang that influences these changes, if it's Kang that teaches him these lessons, because and whether it's his feelings, whether it's like hurting Kang that like does it, I don't know, but like I feel like that would be a really interesting, this spin on the whole teacher tutor thing, because let's face it, like there is that whole thing about the student teaching the teacher. Um
Yeah.
so and I feel like he's very much, as we said, he's very much following Salom's lead in this. Like he knows that Salom knows more than him, that he's smarter than him, that he is more moral than he is, and all the rest of it. And also, he just wants his approval, and he wants, whatever. But I feel like at some point, like we're gonna get to these stages where these things are gonna happen, and he's gonna be like, "I love you, but you're wrong."
Yeah.
And I'm kind of living for that a little bit. As much as I'm like scared to death of it, I'm like, I kind of really like, I'm gonna live for it, because I really want Kang to have this like agency and
Yeah.
realize that like you're not always wrong, you're not always the fuck up, like it's not always your
And he's
fault.
not always correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I can't wait for that for sure.
You
But
know,
yeah.
another funny thing that I noticed
Mm.
is, we had two kisses. You would say three kisses, but I say two kisses. But all right, I will include yours, like the one that just is a kiss, whatever, I guess a kiss. The first kiss was forced.
Yeah.
The second kiss was fake. The third kiss was first.
Mm.
All the kisses up until now were fucked up.
Yeah, we still don't have our real kiss. I'm still bitter about the cops arriving when they did. I was like, they could have waited like 2 minutes. We were so close.
I was just so sure that it would not happen because they showed it in the preview, and so far they've been very good with hiding all the best stuff.
Yeah, well, I feel like as well, like honestly, they're not really at the point where they would kiss like in the middle of a club. I mean, especially at that point, because their friends don't know either. You know what I mean? Like,
they first need to do it in their bubble.
yeah. And
That's going to happen in their bubble at first, and
I
then
feel like we might get it next weekend because it looks like there's some really cute, like, hanging out together in the bedroom kind of.
that the next episode might be the last happy. As if any of the episodes up until now were 100% happy, but the next one may be the last one that's actually doesn't have heartbreak and just
Well, I'm like, I feel like
die.
I feel like I'm gonna feel the same way about this show as that I felt about Not Me, where I'm just like, there's not enough.
Break me, please.
There's not enough episodes.
Oh yeah.
Because like normally you don't want a show to go too long because then they ultimately will fuck it up and piss you off, and
Yeah.
then you're like you're angry and you're like, why did you do this? This is not how this show was meant to go.
Yeah.
In my obsessed brain, this is not how I wrote this show. No, and so like the more chances you give to fuck it up, chances are they're going to. And so like on one hand I'm like, I don't want to just finish it, it's whatever, I want to watch it, I want to enjoy it, it's done. But on the other hand, they're so good at what they're doing at the moment, and it's so like, I want a couple of episodes. I feel like the biggest flaw with dramas, and it's like, it's so consistent, like across the board, it doesn't matter whether it's a Thai BL or a Western drama or a Korean drama or like whatever. Like, I feel like they all suck at giving you the what happens after the happily ever after. Like, I want to watch the happily ever. I want to watch the after.
Mm-hmm.
At least give me like 2 episodes in the after, because I'm like, like my mom and I just recently watched a K drama. I can't think what the hell it's called. I think it's called No One or None Other or something. I don't know. It's about a mother and daughter who live together. Like, the mother had her daughter when she was like in high school or something, and it ends good. Like, the couples are gonna be together and everything, but like it ends with them all apart, and then that's it. And they literally could have done an episode where like they went and did their thing, because it's like they're going on journeys of self-discovery or whatever. It's like they could have done that and then like either given you like 20 minutes at the end of the episode where it was like, a year later or like whatever, or like a whole other episode where they're like reunited. Like, it wasn't satisfying. It was a really good show, but I felt like underwhelmed by the ending, because I'm just like, that's great, but I
No.
want to see them. Like, I don't care if it's, I guess some people think it's boring to watch them get up and like make coffee and be, cute together. I want to watch them be cute together and make coffee. Like, I'm there for that. And so this kind of drama, like you said, we're probably going to get a little bit of happy, and then I feel like there's going to be drama. I really hope that we at least get some happy at the end, but like I feel like the closer we get, like, because what have we got left now? 5 episodes? Like, that's nothing. Yeah, I'm concerned. Anyway, I'm like, let's just not talk about that. I've got a couple more things that I can quickly chuck in here, and then I reckon I'm pretty much done. But
Okay.
I love the scene on the bus, like as you were talking about earlier, when they stand up on the bus. Like, Kang is such a psycho. He's the t-shirt thing. It smells so good. Like, I love it. It's really funny. But it's really fun.
It's so real though. Come on.
It is.
Why is everyone so obsessed? No, I mean I am obsessed with this moment because it's so cute. But at the same time, it is real. That's what you want to do, right? I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
I'm like, it's just so funny to me. Like, I loved it. But it's really, but the thing that's really amusing to me is when I saw this scene, because this scene's in the trailer, I believe, when I like the series trailer, when I saw this scene initially, I expected this scene to happen before they acknowledged their feelings. Like, I felt like it was going to be one of those scenes where, they fall into each other and then they have this moment, and it's like that's when they realize they have like this realization of feelings or whatever. But instead, I don't know, I feel like this was way more perfect. Like, I loved this. It was just this whole bus scene was,
I like the way it is.
yeah, this whole bus scene was like gold. Like, it was gold. It was perfect. And I mean,
it was amazing. Also, what's funny that when the brakes hit and Selom falls into Kang's hands, arms, no one else falls. No one else falls into that direction. So,
and I just love, it's like, it's where I've literally got written in my notes, falling once again, Kang rescues him. Like, it's just what happens. I was just like, if we keep having these moments where Salom falls into him, and I saw your post on Tumblr too, which made me laugh. But if we keep having these moments where Salam falls into him and Kang keeps catching him, I'm totally waiting, because at this point we've got cheesy, like, flirty Kang, and so I'm totally waiting for him to say something along the lines of, like, how Salam's fallen for him or something, because it'd just be so corny, but it would actually, it came out of his mouth, it would be totally perfect, because it was like, it's
so
true.
funny. It's just so ridiculous, and it's ridiculous how I've seen this trope, like I've seen this like cliche thing in so many dramas before, and all the time I was like, okay, when does this end? Okay, but here it's like, oh my god, it's so perfect. It fits
you get
perfectly.
like you get butterflies. You know why though? It's because they've done such a good job of it. Like, the acting is so good. It's like this super awkward longing
It's not how it
stares.
fits the story,
Yeah.
because it feels like it means something. It's not just there to be there. It means something. It leads somewhere. It just like as you said, if they put it before they already know about their bad feelings, it would have been just a moment, a cliche moment. Oh, okay, this happened. It happened. Okay, let's get over it. Let's go to the next scene. But the way it's just placed when they already know about their feelings, it means something.
Yeah, and I think it's about a bunch of things. So it's like, it's about the fact that it's happening in front of their friends. It's happening after they already acknowledge their feelings. It's like, you know, they're just Kang's being flirty. Salam's like teasing him, and I love how Kang's like, no, 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 and then Salam's like, no, no,
No,
no.
no, no. Oh god.
And it's just like, the dialogue is perfect here, the direction's perfect, the acting's perfect, and the characterization is perfect. It's like, as you said, it's done the right way, and it's like that. It's like that with the long awkward pauses in the beginning. We don't feel awkward, and we don't feel uncomfortable and like cheesy or like cringe, because they don't act that way. Like, like, as I said, I've said this before, in other dramas, when they do these things, like, one person is always like cringing themselves. Like, you get the secondhand embarrassment because one of the characters is usually like having a cringe moment about whatever's just happened or whatever.
Maybe you're supposed to be that character. Maybe it's like the avatar, like your avatar, because they're super aware that they're in a series. In a way, it makes you aware that it's a series. But here, it's just like you're immersed in this thing, and
it's like they're
them.
actual.
Yeah,
They're actual people, and it's like,
yeah.
and because they don't feel awkward, they don't make us feel awkward about it. Like, it's just really, and because when they're giddy, we're giddy. Like, it's so cute.
Yeah.
When I was watching this scene back where Guy tells Salam that they already know what's going on between him and Kang, and that it's okay and everything, and Guy, and like, I'm watching this scene because I was looking for like little nuances and things like that about the way they're reacting and acting in that, because I was super curious, because I love this scene. I thought this scene was really cute. And I'm watching it, and in the background between Salam and Guy is the senior who asked Kang to play soccer with them in the first place, and he's just standing back there, totally looking at them.
Everyone is standing, but they're looking at them in that scene.
No, for real. When we get off from here, I want you to go and watch this bit of the scene, and then ring me before I go. It's like 4:30 it's like 4:30 in the morning here, but I still want you to do it, and then I want you to ring me because I want your reaction. Because I kid you not, once you see this, you cannot unsee it, and I feel like everybody should be in this party with me. So basically, the senior is standing back there. He's like looking at them, and he's nodding his head like he's part of the conversation, and I'm just like, this is so fucking weird. Like, I never noticed it, and now I'm noticing it. Like, he's interacting in this way, and it's so weird. And it's like, he's a background character at this point. He's like just fodder for the scene. Like, he should be interacting with the person standing next to him, or like, I don't know, tying his shoe or something. He should not be like going, oh yes, this is interesting. And I'm just like, why is he playing it this way? Like, I'm like, the whole school is gonna know tomorrow. Like, I'm just like, you have to watch it. I was trying to get, as I said, the nuances of the scene and everything because I love it so much, and he just completely pulled me out of the scene. I was so distracted by him.
Intentional. I think it was intentional because in the scene where Kang, in the scene where Salom gives Kang the water, everyone is watching them. It's like a show.
Seriously, you need to watch this. It's weird. Like, for real. Like, I can't. I'm so distracted by him. I cannot unsee him and his like whole characterization of this scene, and I feel like everybody
Close your
should join
eyes.
me. Everybody, anybody listening, you should join me in my pain and rewatch this scene. And I challenge you not to be distracted as fuck by like whatever the fuck he's doing. Like, I'm serious. I wanted to watch Salom. Like, I'm like, and every time I tried to rewatch it, I just kept getting drawn to him because now that I've seen him, he will not go away. He's like a ghost or something. I'm like, stop haunting me. But seriously, I challenge everybody. I challenge you. I challenge
There.
you. You watch it
Okay.
and then call me.
Okay, I will. But you know, there's so many details in this series that you need to. Once you notice them, everything becomes so much interesting,
Yeah,
so
well,
much more interesting.
I don't
I
know.
think
Like, if they start the episode next week and like the whole school knows they're dating, it's because that guy told everybody.
I,
Like for real. That's like, it's like he's like, ooh, so this is the gossip. This is some hot shit. I'll wait till I tell Jeffrey. I mean, it's yeah. I don't know. I was just like, I don't know where I got Jeffrey from, but yeah. I was just like, oh my god, what is going on right now? Or that he's just like, oh, that's what the water bottle thing was about. Oh, they were having a lovers tiff. Oh, how interesting. Like, it's just, I don't know. I kind of feel like someone should do narration for him and like upload it for me because I need
yeah,
some sort
you
of
should do.
amusement. I feel like the scene is ruined for me now. No, it's not, but like I'm just like, oh my god. Or someone needs to like give me like send me that clip with like a black dot where he is. You know, like like when it's like police footage or something and they're interviewing a witness. Like I need like a black dot or like pixelation over him so that I'm not distracted by his weird ass creepy behavior. And I'm sorry if for some reason the actor ever listens to this, like he never will, but on the off chance that he did, I great job. I'm like, you totally stole that scene. Oh no. Anyway.
Yeah.
And so that was it. I'm sure there's like 100 other things I could say about different things, and I'm sure that we'll see stuff on Twitter and Tumblr and
I made so many little comments, but if I start just talking about every little thing that I noticed in this episode, this podcast will never end. I want to actually watch everything from the start. I
yeah.
want to put it into perspective. It's such a surreal experience, though.
It's funny because I really want to watch it. Like I would like to just sit and oh god, my hair is caught on something. I would like to watch it from the start as well, like just as a casual viewer, like in order all together,
Yeah,
over a weekend or something, so there's no
maybe
waiting.
maybe I noticed something that was set up in the start, and I didn't and got payoff.
Yeah. But I also kind of really want to watch it in a really analytical way too, because there's so many things that we've noticed, like the doors and the bathroom and
Yeah,
like this bubble that's formed and stuff. And I was thinking about it and I was like, the bubble is kind of a little bit there when the bullying is happening as well. Like it's
and you know what I want to see? I watched some moments from the first two episodes. I want to see that them in that room when the bullying happened. I don't know why, but I had this thought. I want to see them in that place
mm,
physically, do something like erase that memory or something. I don't
yeah,
know.
like have like a positive memory instead.
Yeah,
Yeah, or
yeah. I don't know why.
even like just not even if it's not just them, like even just like them as a group of with their friends, like
Yeah,
hanging out and having fun there.
yeah.
Like get rid
I
of
had this thought.
like make it untainted. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
nice
and
that's a nice idea. I like that.
I also want to listen to Salom's speech at the beginning of episode one because I actually jumped a little bit through the first episode, but I didn't really watch the scenes. I had no time.
Mm.
But I want to really listen to what they're saying. Because see, you wrote this thing today where you reference to Kang asking if Salome if he's the hero, and Salome answering that, "Are you my heroine?" or something.
Oh no, this when the kiss happens. Yeah, when the forced kiss happens, he says something to Salom says to Kang something like, "Do you want to be my heroine?" I think, and then he
No,
kisses
no,
him.
That happens when they get out of the teachers.
Oh, it does too when he pushes him up against the wall. That's right.
Yes.
Yes, that's when it happens. Yeah. I love how I wrote this and I'm like, I have no idea the context of it, but I knew it happened. But yeah, it's so funny because yeah, that's right. I did. I mentioned about how Salom asked him if he wanted to be his heroine. And it's like, well, it's funny because he wants to be your hero. That is totally his jam. Like it's what
Yeah,
he's
and
all about.
also Kang telling him that money can buy everything, and I feel like all these things are going to all the things that they said in the first two episodes are to each other are very important.
Yeah. It's
I
gonna
want to really, really listen
Yeah,
to
I,
them
I think
and
I'm the same. I was thinking about that actually the other day. I was like, because when I said to you, I still haven't rewatched this episode. I need to rewatch it and make some notes. I was actually like super tempted to not rewatch it and just go and watch the first few again. Because as I said, besides those things, I'm also super curious to see like when the door thing started, when the bathroom thing started. Like, was there anything else that we missed? Like, and also like this, as I said, I feel like the bubble existed to a certain extent around the two of them because in a negative way, not in a positive way. Like I want to see where it turns positive, but because like like it starts out with like them bullying Auto and everything, but it very quickly just becomes about Salom and Kang.
yeah.
Like the friends are just along for a ride at that point. Like they become fixated on each other, and so in that and a lot of the scenes are just the two of them. Like the scene outside the principal's office, the scene in the lift, the you know what I mean, like the scene where um Salom punches Kang with his money, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
There's
it also
so
happened in
many
that room.
Yeah, there's so many moments where it's just the two of them without anyone else interacting. And I was thinking about it and I was thinking that's really interesting that this bubble between them has kind of always existed, but it turned into something different. So
Yeah.
yeah, anyway, things to revisit, things to like. I'm like, because we clearly need more to talk about than we've already got to talk about from these episodes. But yeah, I think you're right. I think what happened in those first two episodes is either going to save them or become like haunt them in later
I feel
episodes.
like the things that happen in the first two episodes are able to tell us the story of how this whole series is going to end. Like, if you really read into it,
Mm.
maybe we have the answer of how this is going to end in the beginning.
I'm like, I
At the
kind of
beginning.
I like because we have like stayed away from the book, right? So we don't know anything. We were gonna wait and do the book afterwards, but like, and I don't want to know, but I also kind of want to know how the book ends. Like, I'm super curious because I'm like, I need this to have a good ending. Like, I mean, already I'm assuming it's heaps different from the book. Well, I mean, I know some of it's the same because I accidentally got spoiled a little bit, but I
Don't talk to me about this.
no, but I'm just like, but even from the
Don't
original.
just don't
No, no,
mention
no, no,
it.
no, no. I'm just saying, but even from the original trailer, it's different. You know, in the original trailer, the mother was alive and the father dies, and then in the
Mhm.
show, like the mother's dead and the father, like it's different. So even if you knew what was happened in the end of the book, doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to use that. So I mean, look at Not Me. Not Me is like not. It's like the character's name and the fact that Black and White were twins, and that's it. That's all she kept. Pinucci's like, great concept. Let's just put this here and set fire to it, and start all over again. And I love that. I love that for her. Bravo. But yeah, so we don't know. We don't know what they've kept and what they've changed. And I mean, look at what they changed as well, just from this scene in the, like this scene, this kiss, this technically first kiss, um, from the original trailer that happened in the rain versus the one that happened in the toilet. Like, it's different. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I mean, they may have had a plan and then got to this point or something and gone, let's just throw it all out and start again. We have no idea how true they're going to be. So the book is probably kind of useless anyway. But I will be curious, like once we've seen the end and everything, like what actually happens in the book.
It would fit the story. It would fit the story if it ends tragically, though.
I know, but I really don't want to, and I'll be super angry because I hate tragic shit.
Either, of course.
Like, I get so
Um,
angry. Like, I mean, we already established this is super romantic. I want it to stay super romantic.
but that, yes, but sometimes you can can't really keep this super. Although they have enough drama in their lives and to make it very dramatic and not kill them in the end.
Yeah, I feel like they can totally
Not
do it,
break
and
them
they
up.
because like they need to learn how to exist like together in each other's lives. Like in their lives are so different. They need to be able to move within the two, or meet in the middle or something. Like I don't know, but yeah, I just I hope it doesn't. I mean I hate watching things that are tragic. I don't mind tragic. Like don't get me wrong, I love tortured characters. I mean there I mean, you know, we were talking earlier about a book series I'd love to do a podcast on, and that's like they're all friggin' tortured in that. But like, I
You
just
know, yeah.
I don't I need it to end happy, or at least I need to know that they're going to be happy. I can't like
I
I
feel
feel like
like
sorry I feel like real life is so crap that like I why would I waste time watching something that ends tragically if someone dies or someone like I'll be Devo enough if grandma dies.
if you talk about A Walk to Remember, for example, I'm ready to watch it again, even though, you know.
Yeah,
But
I
I feel like,
bawl every time I watch that movie, like for real.
yeah, I think there's enough external drama and internal drama as well, conflicts to drive the story, and both characters. I hope Salom changes, because if Salom doesn't change, then it can be the story of how Kang changes, and it can be Kang's story, which means Salom could, for example, die in the end, like it happened in A Walk
Yeah,
to Remember. But I think if Salom changes as well, then it's, and up until now we've seen both of their points of view, so it looks like it's the
it's
story of both
even.
of them.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
the
So
problem is like I feel like Kang's changes. I feel like if something had happened to Salom, because a lot of Kang's like image and everything worth is like tied up in this idea of being his hero and like be like I feel like if something happened to Salom, I don't think he would like yeah I think he would be I don't
yeah,
know. He would not be this Kang
yeah,
that we're getting now. Like he would not be the Kang that Salom is falling in love with.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. That's
So
yeah.
it would if
I
if
can.
if something happened to Salom, this would be a true tragedy because it would destroy both of them. There would be no like God what's the actor's name who's in um Shane something? Is it Shane who's in A Walk to Remember?
Oh, the character's name,
Or what's the character's name?
Landon.
Landon, that's right. There'd be no Landon moment in this. Like it would just be like
Yeah. Oh
set
yeah.
fire to the universe. Like he would go out in a blaze of glory, hunt down
Or
whoever
he.
hurt him, and just like end up
Yeah.
either dead or like in prison.
Yeah. Totally.
because
Yeah.
like I mean this has the makings for a super tragic story because all you would need for this to be a super tragic ending would be for like Salom to die and Grandma to die and Kang has like nothing.
Yeah. But I hope Salom changes, and which means that it's the story of both of them, of how they both change for each other, and so
This went dark really quick.
yeah. That's because I had this feeling, because this is how it feels. This is the
Yeah.
big, like big romantic story. The
Yeah.
big romantic stories, most of them are tragic in the end.
Mm,
And this story gives you that vibe. It reminds you. I told you at the beginning, like in episode 4,
mm.
about episode 4. I have this feeling.
There
It
are
reminds me
there are
of Titanic, and I love to remember, and Romeo and Juliet, and everything. Like
yeah.
it's just
There are stories though where it is big epic romances, like for example, like one. I mean, it's way more restrained because it was like
mhm,
the time it's set in. But like say something like Jane Eyre, it's super tragic
yeah.
until it's not.
Okay.
You're like, it is though. Like it is. I mean, like there's so many misunderstandings and um and all the rest of it, and it could have ended badly, like with tragedy, and then but it doesn't. They end up together in the end, even though it's like, I think he's like handicapped or something. I can't remember. It's been years since
It
I've read
does
it.
kind of end tragically, because I'm gonna okay, we're not going to talk about Jane Eyre. I have a really cool theory. I don't know, maybe you know about it, but it does end in a tragedy a little bit. No, okay, not tragedy, but drama.
Oh yeah, it's drama.
Tragedy is when everyone dies. But
Yeah.
we
Oh, yeah,
did
but
end
like
in drama. And this one could end in drama as well. It could have like a bittersweet ending.
yeah, true. I mean, I guess, yeah, okay. I went off anyway.
Now I want to talk about Jane Eyre to you because when I had like, okay, we should stop.
Yeah, okay, Jane is for another conversation. Perhaps we should just do a book. We should just do a podcast series on like books or something that we love. And yeah,
Yep.
I'm assuming they're all going to be tragic. I feel like that's our vibe. But yeah, but yeah. I mean, I have to read it again, honestly, to have a proper discussion about it. It used to be one of my favorite books, but it's been, oh my god, so many years since I've read it.
Same. So
Mm.
I guess this is the end of this podcast, right?
Yeah, this is definitely the end. We're now talking about other shit. So, but anyway, it was fun. It's always fun. Well, that was fun.
At least for us it was.
If you made it to the end, I'm not sure if we should apologize or congratulate you.
But thanks again for spending your time with us. Join us in the next podcast as we react to the next episode of Dangerous Romance.
Please check out our Twitter and Tumblr at criticallyobs for all future posting schedules.
Bye for now. I'm Mirella.
And I'm Zoe, and we'll see you next time.